All right. Welcome to the Good Stuff Podcast, where we try to talk about the good stuff going on here in the Marysville, Ohio area. I'm your host, Derek Schwinn, local real estate professional with Keller Williams Consultants Realty here in town. And today we are back, like we were last year, at Dutch Mill Greenhouse with this guy.
Hey, everybody.
So we've got some exciting things to talk about. Lots going on in the community. As you can tell, it's raining today. So
a lot of rain.
It's prepping for spring weather, right? And
Why not talk about plants in the pouring rain?
Seems to make sense.
Yes.
So, sorry if there's too much background noise. I'll do the best I can to clean this up. But, yeah, so what's new?
Not much. Welcome to the greenhouse again, as you're here all the time. But off season, if you guys can see in the background, we are busy plugging today. So it's a very exciting time here. We finally got our plugs in, and today starts the day where we grow all the baskets, and takes us usually about 2 months, and they'll be nice and full by Mother's Day.
Amen to
that.
that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes.
Fun stuff. So any big changes this year to talk about?
So big changes, we're really pushing for more with the growth of Marysville, which I'm sure we'll talk about at some point. We are kind of switching gears to more patio planters, if it's for flowers or specifically with vegetables and herbs as well. So things that people can grow on their patios and decks and those types of things. So less in the ground, more container gardening. And that's going to be our big push this year.
So one thing that I have heard of is I guess I don't know what it's called. You can share that. My wife said you will come to our house 4 times a year and take care of a pot for us.
Well, yes and no. So we are starting a subscription planter. So, we have the 4 seasons, starting with spring. So you'll have your cool season crops as far as pansies and alyssum, snapdragon, things that can tolerate a lot of cold.
Mm-hmm.
And those ones will probably be delivered around late March, early April. And you'll enjoy those for about 2 months. And then around mid-May, once we are free of frost, that's when you'll get your summer planter. Sky's the limit with that as far as what is available, and our team will create a custom planter to your liking, of course, and whatever you want, your wishes, or is it sun, is it shade?
Mm-hmm.
I don't like red, I want more pink, whatever.
Colors or whatever. Yeah.
Exactly. So, and that will be the meat of the planters. So that one will last all the way up until, let's just say, September-ish. So when things start to cool down, we'll provide you with a fall planter that you can enjoy for about another 2.5 months. So with an emphasis on more fall-related things. Obviously, you'll have your mums, your cabbage, other cool things that can tolerate on the back end of the cold season. And then we will follow it up with a winter planter, which usually will be delivered, again, with your choice of either before or right after Thanksgiving, and you can enjoy that up until, after Christmas, after the holiday season, and then after that, we'll start all over again next March.
Nice. So is that like evergreen, Christmassy kind of thing?
Exactly. Yeah, a lot of cut greens is what we say. Birch poles.
Yep.
We have different tiers, so you can get, I forget what the tiers are called off the top of my head, but let's say you start with a premium. You're already going to be more than what you could traditionally buy in our store. Everything's going to be custom to your liking. And then we do a level on top of that, which is like a showstopper. That's basically, we're going to stop traffic for you in front of your house. So that's our goal with those. And we just launched it this season, probably not even a month ago. We've sold a few already, so we're pretty excited about that. So,
well, I assume my wife will be doing one, it sounds like.
Let's hope so. We'll get a hold of Ashley.
We'll do that.
Yes.
Well, that's very cool. In a busy lives we all have, it's nice to have something nice that you don't have to take care of, and it's especially customizable in different tiers.
Right. So we've done this for a few customers already, and we just never advertise it as such. So there was a gentleman that always buys one for his wife every Christmas. I'm like, hey, this could be a thing. So we love making containers, so why not offer it to everybody? And we're not hiding it anymore. We want to do more, so yeah.
Yeah. So do I get to see your smiling face? Are you going to show up and plant my plant?
Either myself or Maddie would probably be more enjoyable to see Maddie, but it might be me, it might be Maddie.
Somebody will show up.
Or Dad. I mean, Hank likes
to
show
Hank,
up.
come out.
Yeah,
Nice.
of course, yes.
Yeah,
so,
keep him busy. Nice.
Yes.
Good deal. Well, those are some exciting things.
Yes.
Yeah, and I always enjoy this time of year when things start transforming and the green and the colors start coming out.
So we're, it's raining today, blah, but all it takes is a little bit of sun and the heat. The greenhouses are warmed up with the heat. Last year you were here probably mid-March, because we were surrounded by tropicals by then. Yeah, so a little earlier than last year, but still exciting time for us. So
for sure. Yep. Well, I got a new drone I like to play with, so I'm going to try to fly that around and maybe see some of the plugs and whatnot, and maybe come back and get some time, kind of a time-lapse idea.
Absolutely, yeah.
See the progress. I always like that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Cool. So let's go to the big one.
Okay.
The growth of the community. You mentioned that. Let's dive into that. I put on Facebook some things I shared with you, some questions. So let's go with the first one here. And we don't have any specifics right now. I'll get those later. From some more experts that can speak to numbers and things for you guys that wanted specifics on some of these things. But your opinion on the amount of rentals being built in the area and the effect it'll have on infrastructure. That's our first one.
Yeah, that is obviously a hot topic and has been for a number of years. Obviously as a business owner, obviously more people in the community obviously hopefully equates to more sales. But at the same time, I've been here for 40 years. I also love the small town feel. So it's a double-edged sword for me. I know that where we're positioned at some point, we will be surrounded by homes, and that scares me to no end. I love going here in like off-season or even after hours and going out to the back of the greenhouse and realizing that I'm surrounded by cornfields and bean fields.
Nobody.
Nothing. It's a great feeling. And now that they're building houses that I can actually see, I could always see Mill Valley, but now they're on the east side of 31. It's kind of scary. And
there's 300 houses being built there, so at some point you might be able to wave and get a wave back.
Exactly. So I'm already envisioning customers just walking through our back greenhouses, thinking that it's just public space, and that scares me.
I never think about that.
Yeah, like they just assume that.
Oh, security. In general, and
so. That's kind of scary. So I don't have a truthful answer if I'm pro-growth or anti-growth. As long as it's done tastefully, I just feel like there is a ton of apartments going up, and that seems to be all I see. So when I drop my daughters off at dance, have you heard of this dance studio?
Never. No. You'll have to tell me about it.
So they opened up that new road. What is it? Professional Parkway.
Yep, I believe that's what it's called.
And so I drive from, let's just say, London Avenue to Industrial, and I drive it multiple times a week. And every time I drive it, I'm just like, what the heck is going on?
It's like, boom.
Yeah.
What happened?
There's another apartment complex. Another apartment complex is like, where are these people coming from? And
everywhere.
Yeah. And I hate to say it on radio, but how can they afford to even live here in Marysville? It's kind of scary. So, but yeah,
there's a lot. Yeah, and that's the other thing that affordability. It's definitely gotten to the point, especially for locals, that some people are being priced out. The percentage of people that can actually afford a house, or to be able to afford their house if they actually have a house, is pretty low with rates, and it's a whole lot worse in other places. It's pretty bad here. I mean, Central Ohio last year grew by the most in the country. Had the highest percentage growth and whatnot, and I think we're in one of the main areas that's happening. So creates strain in a lot of different ways, and the amount of rentals. And that's probably maybe a week or two ago. Just driving around similarly, just kind of in shock of, oh my, this It wasn't like there's a little bit here and there's a little bit here. It went from that to
it's everywhere.
Whoa, there's a lot.
They just cut those trees down by the Scooters coffee shop over there on 31.
Yeah, that's lovely.
And I'm just like, wow, more apartments going over there. So.
And then there's some over on Watkins that they're working on.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure there's a lot in the works.
I read something in the paper. What was it, today or yesterday, that the Watkins or Marysville, what are they calling it, Marysville East or something like that?
Yeah.
So I didn't read the whole article yet, but I'm anxious to read it and see, are they talking commercial or more residential, or what's going on in that area?
A little bit. I believe apartments, and then industrial's a little strong, but commercial. Yeah, a commercial complex type place of different things, and obviously this. Kind of like you were just speaking about your kitchen renovation. They're still developing some things until they get into it, and a developer's going to keep it wider to get more options of who can come in, obviously. So you used the word elegant or tasteful, I think, in growth. What would be 1 to 3 things you might specify in what that is?
Well, with more people, obviously we need things to do, and I think that's always has been another common complaint, is that there's just nothing to do in Marysville. I'm always in shock when people have lived here for 5 or 10 years and didn't even know we were here, and they just are jumping on 33. Like, let's assume they live in Mill Valley or Scott Farms,
the Great Wall, as it's called.
Exactly. So they just basically drive on 33. They're either working in Columbus, they just don't exit until they get home. So I don't know if it needs to be more independents coming into town, but as we know, that's also difficult to open up a franchise or even your own store.
Yeah, non-franchise.
Non-franchises, yes.
So I was trying to think how to phrase this. So one of my favorite things, when I got into real estate, my sales pitch for the community was always best of both worlds. You could come, what are you, a quarter mile from 33 or half mile maybe?
Yeah, maybe about a mile max from 33.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. Like, you're not very, just a stone's throw outside of town, and you could stand in the cornfield and be secluded and get out. Thankfully, I'm 9 miles out, so I can get that. But for me, it's 9 miles north of town. I can get to that with my house. Or I can go, I don't know the mileage, but 13 minutes to 270 from Marysville and have it all. So the comments about nothing to do, I'm challenged to say, no. I like this community because I don't have to deal with all of that stuff. But if I want it, it's 20 minutes away.
Yeah.
So I'm challenged with that of, it's like all the migration from California. A lot of places are saying, don't bring California ways to whatever state, the migration went to. So I have a bit of that feeling like, no, I don't want things to do here. That's why I like it here, because there's not too much going on. But what would be your thoughts on community? That has been coming up a lot for me lately, saying that people are hopping on 33, going to Columbus, they'll, wherever off 33. And then going straight home and maybe not interacting a whole lot in the community. And I struggle with that because I think that's not struggle with that. I'm challenged with what's the solution for some of that, because I feel like culturally we've lost the sense of community and reason to engage and
Yeah. I think there is still plenty to do. You just almost have to work a little bit harder to find either the things that you want to do, or find things that are compatible with your hobbies and your interest. I feel that with today's day and age, everything needs to be instant. If I can't find it now, then they're off to the next thing.
So I guess I'm speaking more to the relational side of that.
Okay, sorry.
Like, that stuff for sure.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people I've experienced lately, they're like, I haven't done anything, but they don't have relationships to do those things, and they don't want to do things by themselves, so they don't do things. And so to me, I think it's the catalyst is we've lost, a lot of different reasons of what's happened over the last 10, 20 years. But just the relational side of things, that I don't feel like people are as relational as they used to be. Like, I've seen quotes of the decline in how many quality male relationships guys have now compared to like 10 or 20 years ago has drastically dropped.
Okay.
And so I think there's just less relationships for most.
Well, fortunately for me, I've lived in Marysville for almost my entire life. So I still have a core of friends that I graduated high school with. I have new friends such as yourself and amongst other people. I like to pride myself on creating relationships here in my store. So I don't have a problem creating relationships. I have a bucket of core friends, and then I have plenty of other people, even customers that I consider friends now, that I can call up and they call me and we just BS and whatnot. So the fact that maybe is that I am so involved in the community, I don't have those problems. I could definitely see that being a problem, but I personally don't have those problems.
So I guess what I was more asking, do you think that's part of the challenge of why people don't venture off the beaten path of 33? Or just, not that they're coming here to look for a friendship, but
no.
you know what I mean? Just, I think overall, community, I guess what I'm saying is community to me is people in relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's not as much of that as there was in yesteryear. And so I feel like there's some benefit to more values in relationships. And
are you kind of saying that it's harder to make friends and harder to get involved in the community or to find out what's happening in the community?
Oh, I guess what I'm saying is I think it's a whole lot. I guess one example of many. It's a whole lot easier to sit in front of your TV on your phone and get your dopamine rush,
Oh, yeah.
and your doom scroll, than it is to go out somewhere and potentially be challenged with life.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think
100%.
we don't have the support we used to as community members and things. And anyway, so not that I'm trying to solve the problems of the world, but just postulating about,
Okay. Yeah, again, I might not be the best person to ask that question for.
As we're challenged with growth and I think part of getting back to the tasteful growth, I think growing as a community and becoming more of a community is what I'm getting after, versus what do we want buildings to look like, what business, we want a Target to come or whatever. I'm much less concerned with that than I am the relationships and the quality of the people in the community.
Yeah.
And so that's more of all I was speaking to.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I pride myself on creating relationships. Even the staff is encouraged to make relationships, getting out and getting involved in the community and being just a part of the city that we love so much. So, yeah.
Amen to that.
Amen.
Okay, so on that note, we'll go to the second topic on here. Lack of retail, more actual restaurants like Olive Garden, Red Lobster, Target, Kohl's, those kind of things. Again, my 2 cents is 20 minutes away.
Yeah.
If you like it, maybe that's the place you should live.
Yeah.
Would be my 2 cents.
I kind of feel the same. I don't think we need a Kohl's or a Target. My wife would love a Kohl's or a Target, obviously. I'm sure Ashley would as well.
Probably.
We still like going uptown to go shopping, being independent. We prefer to, support independence as well. I mean, of course, we still go shopping at the Home Depots and the Lowe's and
the big box. Yeah,
the big box. We don't love to, but sometimes it's a necessity. I love to go into Ace and buy as much as I can from them.
Of course.
But as far as when it comes to restaurants, yeah, I mean, I'm proud to say I've never been to Texas Roadhouse.
Me either.
So still, and what's so comical is like everybody for how many years was complaining that we need a steakhouse. And I know there was a steakhouse in town, and it didn't seem like anybody wanted to support it.
Mm-hmm.
And then in came a chain, and every time I drive by, it's like, wow, that place is busy.
I've tried to go once or twice with other people just because I haven't been, so I felt like I'll go.
Yeah.
And the line's always too long, and whatever. Yeah.
Probably doesn't help that we have a special diet that we're not allowed to go to. That probably has a lot to do with it, though. So
fair enough.
Yes.
You didn't have to share that.
I'm sorry. Yes.
No. So the next one, somebody commented about what about a theater and a skating rink? So a theater, there are a few theaters in town, depending on what exactly you're looking for. There's not necessarily a AMC movie theater. There's the Avalon Theater uptown that has some movies. It has some live performances, some speaker series. Excuse me. That's Auditorium. They have a lot of great local talent. My wife's done a podcast with me on all of the theater type things that go on, and plenty of resources there. So if anybody wants those resources, I can share those. But the skating rink, as a longtime resident,
yes,
you can
I remember
you
where
can
that
speak
was
to
at,
that.
where the Applebee's was at. I do remember that. Wow, glory days.
Yeah, and that one comes up quite frequently as a nostalgic, if you've been here that long, to remember when that was there and going there. And I'm sure it's like any of them across the country, but that one I think that definitely fulfills the what about kids?
Yeah,
that one comes up a lot.
So yeah, that would be super cool. I think my kids. I mean, I know it's kind of the same. We took our kids to the Chiller for the first time, and kids had a ball. So, I think something like that for the kids would be great. I also find, and I wrote this down in my notes, is what age group do you think is the hardest age group to find activities for? Such as,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's a good question. I guess I would have to first think about what in Marysville specifically, right?
Yes, of course, yes.
Yeah, I mean, if you take, because to me, I'm like, oh, the handful of things I can think of off the top of my head that we don't have, like rock climbing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, again, go to Dublin.
Well, and that's what's so funny is like you keep saying we're 20 minutes away from Dublin. The people that are complaining don't want to be Dublin, but yet we can't be Dublin and still have activities for the kids to do sometimes.
Well, and I guess I guess I'm trying to think of an age range that I can't think of a handful of things for kids to do.
Yeah.
Because the schools have all kinds of activities for all kinds of age ranges. The libraries, the art league has stuff to do. So there's a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Now, if you phrase the question as something the kid wants to do, well, you want your cake, you need it too. But I'd say overall the older kids are probably the more challenging, like rock climbing.
Yeah.
Or the skating rink, or like the high school, middle school, high school kids. That would probably be my answer.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, so our oldest is 10, and her passion right now, again, I hate to keep saying dancing, but that's what she's extremely passionate about, and that's what she loves doing. The other ones, again, they're just tagging along at the moment, but I mean, we're really lucky where we live in town. We're surrounded by parks, so we go to parks all the time.
And the trails are getting nice.
Trails are nice. Yeah, we went to McIver. Went with all that snow, super cool. We bundled up.
I've heard people go out there and cross country ski.
Oh yeah, I can see that. But yeah, no, super cool. I mean, kayaking. I know. Keep talking about that. So, yeah. So, I agree. So I only have up to 10 years old. We have still found plenty of things to do. For some reason, my wife can always find us something to do, and I just don't know if she works hard at finding activities, but she just
has a knack for it.
It has, yeah.
My brother made an interesting point once. He said, back in the day, a kid needed a Tonka truck, a baseball, a bat,
probably
and
a bike,
scooter or something, and they were good.
Yeah.
So I'm always challenged not to say, what do you mean there's nothing to do?
Yeah.
If you can't find something to do, maybe you're not looking hard enough.
Yeah, of course,
you can always create something to do or go have fun. And again, I think it's not to be the old man harping on technology. I think it's just a challenge of it's a whole lot easier to sit and play video games or play on your phone or watch TV or whatever than it is to actually go out and find a challenge, find something intriguing, learn something, interact with other people that might be challenging and all that kind of stuff. But not to go down the soapbox. So new businesses or events coming to town is another Facebook request. So the big, I think everybody's been calling it the Silo Project. I don't know if it has an official name.
I've heard of it, yes.
Is it $81 million or 8.1? I thought I saw 81, and then I saw something that said 8.1.
I thought I heard 80 million, and they were going to get a grant for 10%, which might have been that 80 million.
Maybe that's where it was.
That's what it was.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't dug super deep into it, but it's definitely. I mean, 8 million. I don't think would get you.
Unfortunately, not very far anymore. No.
Well, and I think there's a lot of reclamation with the water treatment plant. I don't know how much they're doing versus the city and whatnot. I've been using the analogy that it's. I feel like we in the community, our community is now a big pond. It used to be a small pond. Big fish, small pond kind of idea. So I definitely think we've verged into. To be honest, sometimes I feel like, well, geez, now I feel like a small fish in this big pond. You got $80 million projects coming in and all the other stuff that's going on. So. Yep. That's an interesting one.
I saw the rendering for it, and I thought it looked really cool. I mean, very, very modern, very Dublin-esque. So I rather look at that than what's there currently.
Yep, and that's kind of been my overall thought.
And I kind of feel the same way about the old Kroger's lot. So I've said for many years, if I ever won the lottery, that's what I would have bought that and turned it into a multi-sport hub, where you got batting practices and putt-putts and arcades and throw a bar in the middle, and that way it could be for everybody. So of course I don't have that much money, but that's what I would have done if I had the lottery.
I like you're a better heart than I am. I don't think I would have just dropped that in.
I give and I give.
All you can do. There's nothing left. Yes. So, any other cool projects that are on your mind?
I mean, for here at work, again, we're just busy. We're trying to follow the trends, see what's exciting. We have a great team in place right now, so nothing too exciting that we are ready to reveal at the moment. We have something in the pipelines, but something that we're not ready to release at the moment.
Fun. So. All right, let's finish up with prepping for spring.
Okay. Oh, it's my turn.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, that was my segue.
Of the two, you're the expert.
So right now, so here it is, almost end of February. So right now, if you haven't already done so, it's a great time to be doing some pruning on your plants. You know, if you got some cross branching with your shrubs, those types of things can be done pretty much all winter long. I know I've been out all the time. Whenever it's warm, I'm out there just pruning up different things. Sharpening your tools, you know, making sure your pruners are sharp and clean, from your shovels,
or that you know where they're at.
If you got to find everything too, yeah. You know, you know, if it might be a little early to start some seeds. Peppers might be the first thing you could start now.
It's on my list.
Yep, peppers. Yeah, so that's a go-to. Other than that, it's just planning. You know, right now, if you're working on your vegetable garden, rotating your crops out in different areas, this is a great time to be prepping, and that way when you're ready to come to the garden center,
you know what you're after.
You know what you're after. There's nothing worse than when we have people coming in that just, and it's great because we want to help them, but if they just would have had a little bit of thought and, you know, measurements and all those things in place, it does make our lives a little bit easier.
So for the person that doesn't do that, like isn't a natural, doesn't understand what planning a garden or landscaping means, that they just, you know, kind of give me the baby, not the labor pains type idea.
Yeah, basically. And that's what most people nowadays want.
Yeah, and so I guess is there anything to give somebody a perspective or a mindset on here's what that looks like, you know, versus like outside of just measurements and color, like level of maintenance, is it kind of like when you talk to us, is it how much green do you want through the cold season? And like,
so, yeah, now is a great time because right now there are no leaves on your bushes unless, of course, you have evergreens. And you also kind of want to pay attention to the amount of sun that you're getting. If you know, the trees now don't have leaves, but they will have leaves in the summertime. So sometimes it should take you more than a year to actually do a successful planting. Just so you can see all the seasons and how the sun moves, and just because you're getting sun today doesn't mean you're going to get the same amount of sun.
Winter sun, summer sun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but to just planning, you will save so much more money by planning versus just going off the cuff and start buying things. So many times we see somebody buying a whole flat of tomatoes that it's going to fit in this size bed, and you have
like 4 or 5.
Exactly. Yeah. So just doing a little bit of research. We're here every day. We love getting emails and phone calls and helping people out. So social media, of course. Yes. Fire away. Ask all the questions you want. When is a good time to plant X, and when should I sow my seeds, and how do I do that? And that's what we love to do. We love talking and helping these customers out because it gets them excited, and then it gets us excited at the same time.
Well, the more people want to do it, the more they're going to engage and better they're going to do and learn. And
yeah. So we've always said that if the customer is successful, they're going to continue to garden, and if they're successful, then they're going to do more, and they want to do more. And if they have a bad time or aren't successsul, they're more apt to give up.
A happy customer is a good customer.
Yeah.
Okay, so nothing else?
No, not really. Again, we got some surprises down the pipeline that I can't unfortunately reveal those at the moment, but we do have a lot of new plants coming on. So we're just, every year we get excited, and this is the start of the fun season, and we're hopeful. And just so you guys know, even though we don't open for another month and 2 weeks, if the gate's open, we're open, and we encourage you guys to come out and just walk
Ask
around
your
the
questions,
greenhouse,
whatever.
ask your
Yeah.
questions. Feel free to email, social media, pop in the store. We love it. So you're not bothering us one bit, and I think people actually like to see what we do here.
I think it's cool.
It is pretty cool.
I like
So,
coming out.
yep.
Yeah, I always like coming into the greenhouses.
Yep.
Well,
So,
thank you, sir.
You're very welcome.
Thank you for joining us. Thanks for listening and listening to us ramble on our favorite topics, the community, and all things gardening and whatnot, at least this time around. So we've got upcoming episodes coming up on different things about the community, different things that you guys are requesting. So hop onto Facebook or wherever you're watching this kind of stuff. And if you see some of that, I'd love for you to really leave any comments so we can talk about what you want to talk about in the future. To stay connected on a regular basis, like, subscribe, do all the stuff there. And yeah, I think that's it. So until next time, take care.
See you guys.
Okay, so P.S. Moving forward, I'm going to have a co-host, so you don't just have to look at me. This guy is going to help me at least once a month.
Yes.
And I've got some others that are going to help out.
Excited.
So welcome, Bob, on a regular basis.
Well, thank you for inviting me, and I'm excited to be your co-host and see what we can bring to the table and fire away at these questions for whoever you guys want to interview. So we're ready.
The hot topics of the community.
Yes.
But we won't solve any problems in the world.
Probably.
No guarantees. Okay.
But, yep, we're ready.